Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Venus conjunct one's natal Uranus. And when we're talking about transits that involve Venus, they can be about what we love, what we enjoy, value, matters pertaining to self-worth, self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves. And when we have this transit of Venus conjoined one's natal Uranus, well, this can manifest in really loving. It could be what we enjoy, valuing. It could be friendships. If it's in Aquarius, it could be ones that are friends that are astrological or eccentric or unorthodox type of friends, innovators. It could also be about valuing groups, clubs, organizations. If you're a person, whose chart is really more introverted and introspective, you might be surprisingly a little bit more gregarious at this time, because the fact is this transit can be about having more enjoyment in involving groups and where people congregate. Uh, and if you have that enjoyment, then you might be more apt to mingle and be part of those groups and clubs or what have you. Now, and also too, it's about really enjoying matters with society more. Again, it goes back to the being valuing groups and group activity. And this is also too, Uranus is connected with innovation. So this could be a time too where perhaps your self-worth, your self-esteem, how you feel about yourself is tied into being inventive at this time and innovative. And also too, Uranus is associated with computers and electronics. So this could be manifesting more enjoyment with these things. If you haven't been on the internet, say for some time, this could be a time where you might find more enjoyment and maybe even love in some cases through social media and the internet, or simply it could, if this is like your work in your life, say you're involved with computers as a profession, you might have more enjoyment in terms of troubleshooting computers as an example, or whatever position it could be that you're in that involves computers. And also being Uranus connected with electronics, this could manifest in more enjoyment in electronic games or gadgets, or even assembling something that's electronic at this time, perhaps. And this could be a time where you put more value in some cases of being non-conforming, even rebellion. It could be just against the status quo in general, and it might be a time where you feel more like doing something that's not conventional, or a little bit what you may call unorthodox. Now, anatomically speaking, Uranus is connected with the ankles, the shins, the nerves, the calves, even unusual health-related issues like I don't know if it's called hemiparesis, when half the body is paralyzed. That's very isolated. But if you're experiencing any issues with what I described, and especially if you have in your natal chart, if your Uranus is either in the first or sixth house, the first house, of course, being connected with the physical body. The sixth house can be associated with physical health debilitations and illnesses. Um, it could be about more time when you're really valuing expressing sentiments, how you feel about these issues. If you're in a situation, where you're having, you have some kind of extensive nerve damage, this could be the time where you might want to, when you value something, you see it as more significant and important. And it could result in taking care of these issues a little bit more. If there needs to be, some tests that need to be done at this time, or some MRI, this is a time where you might be more inclined to spend money on those matters as well. And also too, Uranus is also about independence and freedom. So at this time, you might put a little bit more enjoyment, maybe in doing things when you want to do them, being more independent and self-reliant, not having to ask people to do things. If it's in Sagittarius, as an example, it could be just simply expanding your horizons in general, or taking some trip to another country, traveling abroad. even if it means, or even it could be doing something you might consider foolhardy. This is the time where you put a little bit more enjoyment and love these things more so than usual. Now, another thing, keep in mind, Venus is also about attractiveness, so, what we might do, in terms of making ourselves more attractive to others. And this could be a time where you might come across a little bit more attractive to friends, to people in groups or clubs or organizations at this time more so than usual. It could even be people that are in Uranus type fields like innovation or computers, electronics, astrology. And it might also be that you might look, try to look a little bit more, of maybe unusual attire at this time, and it might do something. It might manifest in drawing, somebody to you on a romantic level if you are unattached at this time and don't have a significant other. Now, uh, say if it's in Capricorn, it might be some, a friend that might be an older person, or they're actually very conventional. Being, say, if this transit of Venus conjoins one's natal Uranus in Capricorn, as an example, or a business person. Now, relationships at this time may have a little more fluctuation. They might be more erratic or sporadic. Maybe you may be more inclined to try to connect with somebody on the internet and social media through social networking at this time more so than usual. And you might say, remember, Uranus can be very spontaneous energy. So it could also indicate, if you're unattached, there might be a very spontaneous connection, or it could be something that just simply leads to like a close friendship maybe. Um, if it's in Scorpio, it could really be one that could wind up being very deep and provocative, and one that's not superficial. Also at this time, remember that Venus is connected with values. This could be, let's say if you have it in the 6th house as an example, this transit, it can involve maybe ingenuity, something like, for example, I don't know if you've seen this on TV, there was some kind of robotic cat litter they were showing or something, and they if you have it in the, say, Uranus could be connected with things that are robotic, and of course, the 6th house is associated with pets, so it can mean, as an example, it could be things that are innovative associated with pets that you might put a little bit more value, more significance in at this time, more so than usual. In remote cases, if somebody is involved in a lawsuit, it may involve something Uranus related, such as something with, electronics, or it could be some kind of something with a friend, perhaps. Maybe cybercrime, maybe your computer is hacked or something, and there's some kind of computer crime that you're trying to deal with at this time. If it's in the 8th house, say, it could be something with credit card issue, or some kind of fraud with that. Because of course a lot of credit card fraud can be, a lot of it is done, online through computers, which is Uranus. The 8th house can be associated with credit cards. And also too, this could also in some cases, and if it's in Scorpio, it might be done very surreptitiously. Most of those crimes are anyway, but even more so, say, for example, if it is in the sign Scorpio. Now, this could be a time where you might feel like more inspired to break monotony and deviate from your daily routine. Say if this is in, you have this transit in Pisces in your 5th house in your natal chart. It can be through perhaps doing some kind of hypothetical or simulated sports related matchups or games. Pisces is associated with fantasy, and the 5th house is connected with games and sports. Now, again, like in remote or isolated cases, if you're going through some kind of divorce at this time, or separation from a significant other, it might be something that might come very spontaneously and unexpectedly. Uranus can be about sudden energy and disruptions, and say if it's in Capricorn, even though it might be sudden or unexpected, it might have been premeditated by the person in question who wanted the divorce, very strongly premeditated. And also, keep in mind that Venus is also about art as well. So if you're enamored with art or have some kind of interest in it, it might manifest in doing something very artistic. That could be, it could be electronic art in some cases, or something, depictions connected with astronomy or astrology. It could be very unique art, science fiction, drawings or paintings, and also too, remember that Venus is also associated with peace and tranquility. So it can also be a time where there might be more of an unusual need for peace, more so than usual, and tranquility at this time. Or in some cases, it might simply be a disruption to this as well, or trying to find peace and reconciliation, maybe with some kind of group that you might have been involved in if the situation had been contentious, or even with a friend if something might have happened with a friend. Because remember, Venus is about peace, and that's another way that can manifest and pan out. But anyway, people, that will conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.